well-deserved, Spaniard. I don't think there's ever been a gladiator to match you.
As for this young man,
He insists you are Hector reborn.
was it Hercules? Why doesn't the hero reveal himself and tell us all you'll give me?
So, who's behind the mask? Yeah? Who writes the plot? What does it launch? How much money does it make in the history of the world? And how twisted do they make the story about freedom? This is very romantic and inspiring. Very soon he gets stabbed in the ribs. His friends in the innocent armies that conquer the whole world with the Irish accent are soon to be hanging from the tree at the moment he escapes. Okay, all of it is totally stitched up, and all of it is done by people who I'm about to explain in this video. She died very quickly, yeah, after her brother became the emperor. Yeah, and all of it, the names are a joke about Lucifer and Lucius, and all of it is a continuation of the master mysterious fraud that controls the whole world and its money streams and its land grabs for 2000 years plus. But that bit may not be reliable. Okay, this is where I'm turning my guns. We've nearly finished the series of videos that I'm making on Abelard Reuchlin, and I'll show you the Abelard Reuchlin story once we've seen the mystery revealed about who is behind the freedom fighter's mask. Yeah, and the name Maximus is all through the names of the Roman emperors and the Roman power base and the Piso family members and the authors of the corrupted New Testament and the Old Testament, as we'll see in the next video, that the whole of the Quran was written using the same template. Okay, so the work that I'm revealing here is by a man who's very unsung, called Abelard Reuchlin, but the villain in the story is Arius Calpurnius Piso. He's the man behind the world ownership mask for 2000 years, and very brave people will only talk about him. Yeah, that's me. This is fiction. This is me in my own living room again, because I want you to know what I look like, and I want you to know that making these videos makes everyone really jumpy, because it is the biggest secret that the world has ever known, and that's why it's covered up by the elite authors in the world. Okay, so yeah, that's me. I'm here. I have no sword, I have no gun license, I have a pen, like the mysterious owner of the whole world in several generations of this family. All of their friends are still in power. My old boss, the Duke of Northumberland, is Perseus from the Roman court, who in the mythology written by all of the world's elite authors is Perseus. That in the Roman court, Perses, the claimants for the English throne at times when the claimants were ruthlessly killed by the more powerful claimants who became the kings, yeah, they live right next door to me. I work for them as a professor of neuroscience and the world's most insightful fraud researcher, and I get from those people £32 a day. But they're the only people with the power base that are prepared to give me a job, and that gives me hope. And I've met them and I've seen them, and they are blessedly productive employers in our local region. They're alleged to be rivals with the other dukes. I believe that that will be something that is told to the simple people to make them feel safe, like the Gladiator when he was negotiating yeah, with relatives and with the senators to try and carve up Rome. Yeah? Marcus Aurelius awarded Rome to a slave from Spain. Yeah? His name was Maximus. It is all a fairy story. Yeah? It is inspiring though, and the music is also inspiring, and I've used that on several of the episodes already. So let's see how melodramatic is the revelation of who the world's most innocent Maximus is.
You do have a name.
My name is Gladiator.
How dare you show your back to me? Slave! Will you remove your helmet and tell me your name?
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North, general of the Felix legions, loyal servant to the true emperor Marcus Aurelius, father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next.
So he's a nice guy. Yeah, yeah, like all of the Maximuses, the real Maximuses are picked for power, and the word maximum and the power base is always driven by deceit and what now is a mafia operation. Okay, let's get back to ancient history and how clever the plot was. Yeah, because we're citing Abelard Reuchlin. Remember that this is his document, and let me just show you the picture on the front of it again so you can know when you found it successfully. Yeah, I've just remembered that the second half of the document is about the Quran, so I'm going to have to make even more videos on that, because that is now the warmongering tool that they're using. So this is the mysterious man behind the Christianity mask. Arius Calpurnius Piso, he's the man, he's the min. That's what you hear them chanting on the golf course. This bit is about the faking of the New Testament. Yeah, and I believe the whole of the Old Testament is written using the same template, and goodness knows how old it really is. It's a master plan to control the minds and literally to control the masses. Okay, right then, so we've gotten to the role of these guys. Yeah, there are several chapters in it. We've been through them in 5 episodes already, and now let's get down to the footnotes where we left off in episode 5 before my batteries ran out. Okay, it's page 25 and beyond. We have the end of that story that I've already told. Yet the links to Egypt, the links to the ancient myths about deities all around the world, and the replaying and the plagiarization of all of that. The really clever bits about the numerical code are really, really clever. They're in episode 2. Okay, that's the code number for that man that I've just cited. Okay, and that's why in many movies people just say that there were 60 casualties, there were 60 people killed under the volcano, or there were 60 people killed in the Islamic terror attack, and all of it for them is a massive belly laugh. And all of them are still allowed to work out of secret societies run by universities and national governments. Like the political parties within those governments, nobody's allowed to know at the top of the leadership tyranny team who says what and what the actual political plan is to dismember our world and to steal from it so that they can retain its ownership for 2,150 years. Yeah, and the little bits of the gaps in the middle between the writing of it and the publication of it, that's why we need to invent the science fiction tools that are the Daleks and time travel. Yeah, and the Daleks share the same shape and image as the Bank of International Settlements in Basel, and that's the Basel faulty joke, and the whole of world history is turned into a profiteering belly laugh. Basel faulty. Yeah, all of the comedians, all of the elite warmongering people in the elite universities are in the tax havens, lording it and winning all of the puppet politicians' government contracts from the havens. That's Branson, the Tweedsmuirs, and whole generations of them. Yeah, the Barclay brothers on the Channel Islands, the Vesties wherever they go when they flounce off in wartime, when things get a little bit hotter for the profiteers, but that is their biggest profiting challenge. Anyway, we're straying away from religion to the other sectors of world ownership. Okay, so Arius, Alpha to Omega. Yeah, they're in charge of the world, and it's all an official secret, like Maximus behind the mask. Okay, so, and there's the numerical code and the involvement of linguistics and understanding of linguistics, so everybody is now capable of decoding it. That's the key one. That's the word knights that say knee, yeah, joke, because that is the P and the pi joke, and every time the pi word is in the film title or in the name of the author or the composer, you can know that it will win an Oscar, a Grammy, a Brit, because all of them are still alive. Like the Duke of Northumberland is Perseus, and what he killed was the Gorgon with the curly hair. Yeah, a menace to our world. Nothing to do with the secret societies. And the same Duke of Northumberland has an image in his shooting lodge of the blackbirds, the fascist blackbirds, flying out of the baker pistor pie that is the bones of the victims, ground to flour and shared in the baker Muller jokes. Yeah, that's because pistor is baker, pistor, T is the Christian cross. Isn't that funny? Okay, and the Gladiator film and its music and its women are really inspiring, and all of the senators fear the Black Death. I must keep repeating the terms Black Death, because your pathological fate is entirely in the hands of the gods. I want you to know that, and I want you to become God-fearing. Right then, back to where we left off when my batteries failed me. And that is on the elite writers, and all of them spend their whole lives covering up the sins and the massive geopolitical crimes of world leaders, in inverted commas. They're totally incompetent now. They live in fear of execution. There are so many secret societies that will stab each other in the back that nothing can be civilized and constructive in anything in global politics. All of it is now a steal from the poor and stack it up in the rich financial institutions run by the Rothschilds, who are nowhere to be seen in this story, even although it's written by two of the world's most intellectual Jews. That may not be an accident, but I think that it is an accident in this case. These people that make this are genuine and really innocent and truthful, but they do not reveal what they look like, which is why I believe that they have been taken out and died anonymously in their beds, or maybe in a shallow ditch. Okay, right then. So 25, then we get the footnotes, and they are in great detail. The wisdom thing is covered by a book about the annals of cricket, also called Wisdom, but spelt differently. Aren't they clever? Yeah. The inner circle, that is the power base that runs the world since the Perses were Perseus. Okay, and the people that are the baddies in the Bible, that are who was the man that lopped the head of John the Baptist? Yeah, Herod. Herod is in the Roman court, lording it up in the Mithraeum with all the secret societies, and it's a massive joke for them, because the Jews and the Christians and the Church of England and the Church of Scotland, all of them come together to invent the sectarian issues to keep the world at war and to keep all of the big cities and all of the countries torn by sectarian division. Yeah, and there are the names of all of the elite authors, all in the inner circle, are all through the world's literature. The Gesta Romanarium, Decameron, Shakespeare, Cervantes, Rabelais, Tolstoy, Milton, the devil's advocate man, yeah, Spencer, an advocate for the law ruling the world. Yeah, there is no law, it is just a mafia scam. And there are loads of little politically correct laws and kosher laws for every religion that you join when you're born into this world, and your mum tells you that you've been born into the one that belongs to the only one true God. Yeah, and everything that happens in your life, your christening, your marriage, everything, your funeral, and all of the things that happen with your children, all of the things that happen with your circumcision, yeah, to protect the life of your firstborn. It is all a total stitch up, but it's really clever, and it's written by friends of these people through all of world history. Tennyson, Spencer, Thackeray, Kipling, so that's Marx and Spencer, Stevenson, Poe, that's the law joke. Stevenson went to Monterey, which is in the Devil's Advocate film, and Milton, Waters, and whatever their name was, are the Devil's Law Company. They defend and get off all of the guilty people. Yeah, and the poor and the innocents are persecuted and fund the whole show. Poe, Burns, Rabbie Burns, yeah, all of the wee sleeket, coorin, timorous Scottish beasties that today will be watching some sport on the telly. Browning, Noyes, Pinocchio. I understand that deeply now. It's a joke about the real gods in the skies being displaced by the wooden puppet with no strings, who becomes a real man, and then they turn him into an ass with a monkey's tail, and that's the Jumanji joke about being the son of a shoemaker. Yeah, that's the religious people from the Vatican who help with the laundering, and the Jumanji joke is about the shoemakers, who are the Warner Brothers, and then become the creators of Hanna-Barbera's puppet and cartoon empire to cover up all of the mafia leaders, the mass murderers, and the genocidal kings, queens, emperors, tyrants, tank commanders, and all of the rest of world history. Peter Pan, yeah, Wendy cannot make her mind up, yeah, wanders around, and ad infinitum. Okay, let's get down to where we left off. It's an extension of that, and we get some citations of their actual output. Okay, so this I believe is page 25. There we have the end. The truth makes us free. Okay? We need to be free of Calpurnius Piso's writings, and then we can have civilization. It will take only a fortnight. Although I had difficulty convincing Dr. David Frenkel, who was my visitor a couple of days ago, that all that needs to happen is we take all of the news vents and use their printing facilities to issue our currency to the whole of the citizen base, and to the whole of local government, and to the whole of national government. And then, when our government issues its own funding, everybody can be free. Everybody can be employed if they wish to, or we can have a work-free society. It can be fabulous, and it can be civilized in a fortnight if they just stop covering up their ancient crimes. Right then, so we're into the footnotes, and we got down to the last sessions. Yeah, all of the jokes about the animals I've explained. That's the Calpurnius Piso joke, and it's as facetious as that, and that's what our politicians and our pressmen now spend their time covering up. Every government, every local council, everywhere on our globe is in the 7th or 8th tier of the toxic debt sovereignty crisis. Yeah, it's pre-planned by the Rothschilds, who are actually Jews but are not mentioned anywhere in this story except by me in my overview and my commentary on Abelard Reuchlin's insightful writings. Okay, so we've had a look at the inner circle, and there's the mention of another weighty writer. That's the wardrobe and the witches author. Yeah, and all of the mysticism is a reflection of the fact of the stuff that I only now realise, that the world is in a heavy way controlled by understanding of the occult. I had no idea about that until I became a fraud researcher and insightful into how the deities work and how all of the exchanges between the gods and the humans work, the involvement of the animals. Yeah, and some of that is mentioned in the Thomas More film, and all of it I now believe very, very strongly in, and that makes me a really powerful person, because I'm wise and I have insight into all of the issues that impact on the concept of civilization and all of the war crimes through all of human history and all of the financial frauds. I understand the template for it, and when I talk about it, the people that do it are named and are brought down. Right then, so the last bit, the truth makes us free. Okay, to be free of the Piso shackle, and that's where we stopped, because it's written with some irony and published by shocking books. Yeah, it's fucking shocking. Fackenheim shocking. Yeah, isn't that funny? 1978, they're sharing that belly laugh. The Jewish return to history. Okay? Right then, so let's have a look at how the elite authors twist the story and make it ever so romantic and inspiring. So this is the William Whiston character, yeah, that writes the annals of cricketing history. It's a different spelling, okay? Josephus, that's the author that we've just talked about, Arius Calpurnius Piso, is the most diligent and greatest lover of truth of all writers. That's a lie, because that's his pen name. Okay? His fidelity and his compass of learning are everywhere conspicuous, from the Old Testament to the crucifixion and the cock crowing several times. All his jokes. Okay? And that quote is William Whiston quoting Joseph Scaliger. Okay? Next bit. Indeed, there is no lie so gross, but it may be imposed on the people by those whom they esteem their patrons and their defenders. That's the Pope, the Archbishop of Canterbury, the leader of the Anglican Church, the leader of everything that happens in all of those hundreds of profiteering Christian denominations. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses, there is no lie so gross. All of them spend all of their time citing fiction and fables and lies every Sunday. And thank you to the people who realise that I have the power to understand that. All of them are now coming forward and talking to me in the supermarkets, in public places, except those that are already in the ITU or the grave. That's Henry Fielding. Yeah, a journey from this world to the afterlife. Okay? "'Tis a lie," said B, "like 9/10 of what ye call history. History lies, as I have told you, The Door of Unrest by William Sidney Porter. The whole of the religious story is a lie, since we ignored Deuteronomy, which says that only the gods that created the universe should be worshipped, and anything else that's human or messianic is a false icon and is false religion. That's completely ignored, which is why Monty Pythons mention it in the window scene and the stoning scenes, where stoning is a recreational activity, and so the women can enjoy it. They have to wear beards and pretend they're men. All of it is so funny that it could not possibly be true, but all of it consumes everybody every Saturday for the Jews and every Sunday for the Christians. And every film that's made in Hollywood is laughing at the same 2,000-year-old secret. Yeah, because they're also in the inner circle for all of that time. That's the Bush family. Yeah, mild Titus and Jessipus without pride, the Fairy Queen. Book 4, Canto 10, Total 14, all of that code for the Piso family members. Paragraph XXV2, line 5, Total 14, all of it code invented by Pythagoras and used by the Piso family to cover their secrets and the roles that they played in the biblical texts, and all of the fairy stories about the miracles and their prophecies coming true, because they knew the plot before they put pen to papyrus. And the Villa Papyri was theirs, and that was destroyed when they began to release the story big time in 79 AD. Okay, the sun's coming peeking out again. Okay, what one man can invent, another can discover. This is the Baker Street Sherlock Holmes jokes. Yet my brother-in-law worked with Michael Heseltine and an empire of fraud in Baker Street, which is where the Marks and Spencer's HQ was, where my wife trained. Both Jews. I've only learned about that relatively recently on my brother-in-law's Facebook page, and he pretends on that Facebook page now that he went to a Roman Catholic school, and all of them are running in fear of their lives. Okay, and this book was left to me by my unfaithful wife, who works entirely on behalf of capitalism and does not even realise that she's a money launderer, because she just hits the keyboard and does what her brother-in-law tells her, and that has asset stripped the whole of the dental profession, and my children's future is now being compromised by her lack of insight. Okay, what one man can invent, another can discover, said Holmes. The adventure of the dancing men, that's the puppets like Pinocchio, but with the strings attached. All of it sung about by the team that are the Sound of Music team, and that's the puppet on the string. I am 16 going on 17 jokes. All of it wraps up into the same belly laugh, and the statistics on the war dead are the same numbers that you see all over this 25-page PDF. It's just a joke. It's not accurate, but the war dead are really dead, and they are dead in huge numbers, and that becomes war graves tourism, where all of these stories and citations are read out and bring tears to the eyes of the survivors and smiles to those that lay the wreaths and run the poppy fund and run the British Legion entirely for profit. Christians were never thought upon till Titus and Vespasian conquered us. Those are the emperors that are in league with the Pisos for vast tracts of time, so that they can keep the power base and they can brutalise the whole of distant continents. The Jew of Malta, Act 2, Scene 3, Christopher Marlowe. Shakespeare was of us. Milton was of us. That's Milton in The Devil's Advocate. Yeah, the town of Milton, right next door to the towns that are named after Burns in Dunedin, on the south side of Dunedin. They are now suburbs of Dunedin. Yeah, so that's Milton, and the town that was Burns's birthplace was, I forget it at the moment, but it may come back to me. So Burns, Shelley were with us. They watch from their graves. I cannot comment on that. I don't know whether or not there is an afterlife for anyone. Okay, The Lost Leader and that stuff, that bullshit, was written by Robert Browning, their elite pen pushing friend. Okay, as I said, he was never precisely unkind. The defect in his brain was just absence of mind. That's the worshippers, what I call the sheeples. Yeah, the simple people that watch everything on the telly, and in 2 weeks' time we have another World Cup final in the rugby sector, all of which has been asset stripped using the same frauds as the bankers use and the world's mafias use to steal from the corporations, to steal from the local governments, to steal all of the pay rises and all of the pensions from everybody that has worked like a slave for all of their lives, loyal to the system without the vaguest insight into the massive scam that it is. And I trust that the mould which he used may be cracked or be made bold by success, may enlarge his phylolactery, yeah, and set up a kind of manufactory. Yes, so they print their own money, they print their own currency now. The gold is laundered. Everything that should be in the Treasury and issued to the Treasury by the Bank of England and the equivalents in every country on the world. In America they have 13 central banks for the one government. It's massive. A fable for critics. James Russell Lowell. Okay? Can falsehood kindle or bedim one bay leaf in his quiet crown? 10,000 lies may pluck at him, but only truth can tear him down. Yeah, you've got to see it coming. Yeah, and it is coming. The Roman way, Alfred Noyes. And then I know this world is fast asleep. Yeah. Bound in time's womb, still some far morning break, and through light grows upon the dreadful deep. We are dungeoned in thick night, we are not awake. That one's anonymous, but it's quite realistic. Okay? Oh no, it's a longer than that. It's Alfred Noyes. Let's go to the bottom. Oh, then I know this world is fast asleep, bound in time's womb, till some far morning break, and though light grows upon the dreadful deep, we are dungeoned in thick night, we are not awake. The world's unborn, for all our hopes and schemes, and all its myriads only move in dreams. Read what our wisest chronicles record. A king betrayed both foes and friends to death, delivered his own country to the sword. That is world history. And lied and lied and lied to his last breath. The ghost of Shakespeare. I just had a fly emerge from all of that shit, and that is the joke that we share in the ordinary working men's sector in Scotland, that round the shit the flies gather. Yeah, so that's The Ghost of Shakespeare, the poetry by Alfred Noyes. A total lie, fought on behalf of the twisted governments and the twisted monarchies. Yeah, the twisted tank commanders, everything. The rapist murderers that were Prince Eddie in the Jack the Ripper story, who spent all of his life in Glam's castle because he had to be shielded from law enforcement, who are not at all interested because they get a bigger bung to ignore all of the crimes in the monarchy, even the unlawful killings which other people have to be acclaimed as murders or murderers for. Okay? As I said, he was never precisely unkind. The defect in his brain was just absence of mind. Yeah, that's watching the Bake Off and the Rugby World Cup, and I trust that the mould which he used may be cracked or be made bold by success. Oh, we've done this one, it's got words in it that I do not understand, and it's been written by a world-class author that I've never heard of before, but I've heard of the Russell Group. They're the people that defraud every student in the English system now and steal £50,000 from every one of them for the honours degree that me and Lord Patton, and no doubt one of the Russells, got for free just a generation ago. Go, little book, from this my solitude, I cast thee on the waters. Go thy ways, and if, as I believe, thy vein be good, the world will find thee after many days. Yeah, that is Arius Calpurnius Piso, the fraudster that scammed the world into believing that Christianity is greater than God. And that's a really dangerous thing to do. Okay? Don Juan, the elderly comic from Spain, like King Juan Carlos, who killed his brother, yet so that he could become King Juan Carlos, and all of that is ignored as they write in the poems. Okay? But King Juan Carlos is forced to abdicate because I come on the scene and I'm very articulate, and it's in plain English about his monstrous crimes against the world people for all of his period in power and against innocent women in other monarchies. That's Princess Diana. He's the father, Juan Carlos, of one of her children. I forget which one it is, but when you look at the pictures on my website and you see them standing together, the likeness is uncanny. All of that was revealed by the late Greg Hallett, the one who used to talk all the time about the corruption in the monarchies. None of the new Greg Halletts talk about that ever. Right then, T is strange, that's the Christian cross. But true, for truth is always strange, stranger than fiction, if it could be told. Yeah, that's the joke about the head of the FBI, whose name was Casey, saying that his job would be done when everything that American people believed was a lie. And that is now the case. So they have triumphed. They have nothing left to steal. The whole of the democracy fraud is won. Democracy cannot get more pathetic than it is now. All of them live their lives for fear of the revelations of the previous sins that they had committed before they were picked to be political puppets on a string, like Pinocchio was before they cut it. Yeah? And his master or controller was Jiminy fucking Cricket, the Wisden joke. Stranger than fiction, with the same initials as Julius Caesar in the Mithraeum and Jesus Christ in the faked up story. Stranger than fiction, if it could be told. How much would novels gain by the exchange? Yeah, so the novels are lies. Yeah, even those in the truth sector. How differently the world would men behold, were things but only called by the right name. Yeah, you've just learned about Josephus, you've just learned about the Gorgon, you've just learned about the Perseus. Yeah, they're the people that launched the Harry Potter movies, and they use their home and they abuse the rights of the narcotics sector because they've got a poison garden to laugh about their power, which is why they have the picture of the cake, the pie on the wall of the shooting lodge, and the peasant is the fucking pheasant. Caesar brings himself would be ashamed of fame. Don Juan, I think he was a womanizer late in life, okay, like Lord Byron, and all of the jokes about the place in Venice that is the place that, according to Indiana Jones, the joke about the culling of the American Indians is where the Holy Grail is to be found, and Sean Connery's with him, helping him with that quest, because Sean Connery likes to have a holiday now again at the public's expense and come out of the tax havens at the public's expense. And supported entirely by a man called Alex Salmond, who has disappeared from public life because he stood in my way. Okay? Oh, then I know this world is fast asleep, bound in time's womb till some far, far morning break, and though light grows upon the dreadful deep, we are dungeoned in the thick night, we are not awake. So when the gladiator escapes with the help of Commodus's sister, yeah, and the help of a senator, somebody spills the beans, and his Irish aide is already hanging on the end of a rope, and when Gladiator tries to get him to save his life and lift him up so there is no tension on his neck, he gets all of the arrows from all of the informed secret police all around that place, and all of the arrows are right into his body. They let the Gladiator move through the film because the rest of the story keeps the people in fear, and all of the people that might be prepared to become revolutionaries are intimidated by what happens to him at the end of the story. Yeah, a knife in the back, literally. The world's unborn, for all our hopes and schemes and all its myriads only move in dreams. Oh, we've done that one. That's Alfred Noyes, who we've never heard of, talking about the propaganda for the kings, the monarchs, written by Shakespeare. And here we've got the Piso joke, because that's the pie symbol, and I think that is the Christos symbol, okay, and that becomes KP. Yeah, can you see it? KP, Calpurnius Piso, or I'm not sure what that icon, the linguistics is vital, or is gold, okay. And here we've got, that's the end of the Piso story on the Christianity fraud, and that is, sorry, Abelard Reuchlin's story, and you can see here the irony of what I've just told you. So this is the legionaries from the Roman army, the legionaries of Piso, the religious martyr leader, yeah, but the Pisos are actually Roman generals, and they lead the genocides of the Jews in all of the conflicts, and they get the Jews' numbers down from 8 million to 3 million in the first 150 years, and that is totally associated with the launch of the Christian Bible and the launch of the new story. And a lot of those Jews are crucified, others die the death of a gladiator, which is really glamorous in the Gladiator film, and the music is lovely, and that is storming the Jewish temple. The irony is that the temple is the icon for global Freemasonry since King Solomon built his. And the freedom fighters like me and Abelard Reuchlin have a tendency to get built into the cornerstone after they're taken out by some of the people that take the bung or a few beers to become assassins in the team. Yeah, I want you to tell the truth if I get disappeared. This is the cause I'm working for. Okay? Right then, the next bit in the next video is going to be on, yeah, this is Abelard Reuchlin by the true authorship, an addendum to the true authorship of the New Testament. Wait for it. Yeah, this is the new enemy, Islam, and its Quran and Hadith and its leadership, So we'll have a little pause there, and you can think about the concept of civilization and how easy it would be to deliver when this man's myths are brought to the ground, yeah, or underground, and they are in Halley's where they entirely deserve to belong. Yeah, and the Halley's joke is all over the Christianity story because it is the underground in Paris, and all of the arrondissements are the Arius joke, and all of it is a tragic series of recurring crimes and crimes against and genocides against the world's people. Okay, so it can only get better, and this news is coming out in the next video. Okay, that's the 6th I've just made on the Piso fraud and how it leads to the entire ownership of the world through the contacts in the monarchy and every government that is created by that ever so powerful team, because they have the capacity to read and write the propaganda that controls the world's minds and makes people believe that they will be sent to heaven if they're prepared to be poor and to die young in the cause of the Christian crusade or the cause of all of the charities that have replaced it. And that's why the Philippines got such a massive storm that was lethal, and all of the Christian churches were hit and flattened, like L'Aquila, right next door to Paganonia in Italy. There is a God, and you need to be God-fearing of them, and the poor people in the desert and in the Islamic countries that never get public health, never get what we've had for hundreds of years already. They never get pure drinking water, they never get sanitation in their homes, they have no electricity still. That is because the writers of the biblical texts are so clever. They launch the wars in league with the intellectuals that write those fabulous poetic stories about world history, and its classics and its classical music and all of the operatic scenarios. It is just a joke at everything that gets stolen from the ordinary people, and the pagans from Paganonia are no longer with us. Right then, bye.